Tura, how are you? Okay.
Wait, sir, I'm not prepared.
No, it's okay. Asira, I'm saying your name correctly, Asira?
Atira.
Asira, yeah, that's good. What about Simran Preet? I think so, yeah. I'm saying it correctly? We have two Simran here. We have Simran Kaur and we have Simran. I think so, we have two here. Let me check. So we have Simran Preet Kaur and we have another Simran Preet. You, yeah. Okay. Thomas, how are you, Thomas, today? Can you hear us, Thomas? It seems... Okay, this is the first time this would happen. Ivan, I will start with you. Are you still here? Ivan?
Yes, yes.
How was your day so far? Starting with...
My day. Very early in the day for that question.
Yeah.
Have you been busy today?
Yeah, with the kids. I have to drive them to the school.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So when you have a family, you will be always busy. Early morning, early night, so you will be always busy.
Yes, yes.
So I will ask you the first question for today. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think so.
So if we see this word database system, the course name database system and database management systems. So the word database, what does it mean for you?
Storage.
Wait, Cora, I'm asking Ivan. It's too early to answer.
Sorry.
Don't worry. So, Ivan, tell us whatever will come to your mind when you hear this word. It doesn't have maybe to do something with a course.
Database. Volatile, I guess.
What you said?
Like volatile, like changing data, like updating the database. Whereas
So,
like the code is constant.
okay, let us, it's more concrete. So I'm talking more about the concept. So do some concepts come to your mind when you hear this word database? So the word database, okay, let's ask another question. If I ask you to define it, how are you going to define it? You can pass. If you can't answer, you can choose somebody. If maybe somebody you don't like here, you can ask him. No, you can ask whoever you want.
Maybe I define it as a structured way to store information.
A structured way to store information. Perfect. Good definition. I can see here somebody has already. Josh, you are here, Josh? Are you the same Josh I know? Maybe you can't hear us, I don't know. Yes. Nice to meet you. Okay, so I see here Josh said that a collection formation. You said a structured collection of data. Is it correct, Ivan? This is what you said?
Yeah, a structured way to store data.
By the way, this is a very good word to use, a structured way. So what about Simran Preet Kaur? Yeah, can you add something about what database this word means for you?
I would say a space or a system where the entire data is collected and stored.
Where data is collected and stored. Okay, good, perfect. What about the other Simran Preet? Simran Preet, I can see that just your first name, Simran Preet. So do you have another name also I have to add it? Like Simran Preet Kaur?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is database will mean for you in this case, this word?
I also think about the collection of information, like the
collection
different things
information,
collected.
as Josh has already said.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I will take more one. I think so, Kura, you want to add something, and then go ahead.
I'm past for now.
Why? You want to add something? Go ahead. What do you want to say before when was Ivan talking?
I just want to say that database is a storage for data, for data, for
Storage for data.
information. Yeah, something like that.
Okay. So for all of us use the word collection, even add in a structured way. Josh and I think so some concrete said also collection. Somebody said about information, somebody about data. Both are correct, even though there is difference between the word data and definition. So data and information. So information is somehow a processed data, but we can say that information, either it is a collection of information or data, but it's better to use the word data because the data is it is a raw information, which is information can be under the umbrella of a data, since information it is a particular data, which is a processed data. But since we are talking about, in general, about collection as a whole, so the best to use the word data, as I said, because the information is under the umbrella of data and the word data is more generic one. So it is a collection. It is a structured way, organized way, and that's good. This open another question before we start our lecture. So suppose if we have a library here, this is example because somehow, and I give you a space, whatever, maybe your room where you are now. I ask you, please try your best when you join to be muted. And when you will be asked or you have a question, you can unmute yourself. So suppose that in each one of you where you are now, I ask you, please, you have this room now. We want to do it a library to store and collect books, whatever other books are. So if we are going to do it in this way, so what would be the main step to do this? Amin Arif, is it correct I'm saying your name?
Amen.
Amen. Okay.
Yeah.
So what have you already heard my question?
Can you repeat it again, please?
Yeah, sure. I said if the space where you are now, which is your room now, I ask you, please, if we want to do it a library to store books, what would be the steps to do this? I give you shelves, but they need to be installed, and I give you the books that you are going later to put them in the shelves. So how you will start?
I would need to download the shelf first, as you said.
So you will install the shelves. How you are going to install the shelves? Just to start installing them, that's all?
Obviously, I'm gonna search it on the internet, and then I'm gonna find the one that's suitable for my device, and then I'll start by installing.
Wait. So what do you are? It's good that you are going to search internet, but what you are going to search for? What?
For the shelves that I can keep in the library to put the books.
I gave you the shelf. I gave you the empty shelves, and I gave you the books. How you are going to start?
I don't know.
You start, for example, you have shelves. You start installing the shelves, and or you have to do something before you start installing them. Yeah. Anyone who want to answer the question can raise his or her hand. I have Josh here. So, Ayman, do you want to add something before we go to Josh here in this?
No. Yeah, that's all I had.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I would say probably take some measurements first just to figure out what you need, what kind of space you have, and how you can space out your shelves.
Okay, so let I formulate the word. So I have to collect some requirement. Do you agree?
Yeah.
So collecting some requirements.
Then I can start installing them. I need to get some tools first, though, to actually put them on.
Okay, so how you are going to install them vertically, horizontally, I don't know, using a special design pattern? What do you think?
Well, probably horizontally so that it can hold the books. Vertically won't really hold much.
Who said horizontally it would be perfect, or it depends about the space?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
I said, who said horizontally is a perfect? Maybe it depends about the space, how your space is.
It could depend on the space, but I would say vertically would probably not hold any books. So the idea is just what would be the most efficient way of doing it, what would hold the most books, I would assume.
Okay, so say horizontally, but in which direction, how would be the design for them to put them, for example, put them 3 shelves each in each column or each row, or maybe you have to put 4 shelves, how you can say about this?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, I said, yeah, okay, let's say we are going to do it horizontally. And
Yeah.
maybe in each row we can put 3 shelves or 4 shelves or 5 shelves.
Yeah.
So I have to try first, or I should have the whole design being done based on the requirement and based on the space measurement. And then I start implementing the shelves.
Well, it depends how many books you have first. I would say figure out how many books you have to actually.
So this is part of
shelving you need.
This is part of the requirement collection that I have to consider also the volume of the data or the books that I have.
Yeah.
So I have to collect requirement to see the measurement of the space. As you said, also I have to double check how many books I have to see about the volume of that I needed for these books. And then I have to pick one of the design of the space that will fit for my requirements. Is it correct?
Yep.
You agree on this?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Josh. Yes. So as me and Josh, now we have already discussed this, that before we are going to build the library, we have to collect some information about what are the requirements needed based on the space, based on the number of the books we are going to use them in this library. And also based on this requirement, I have to pick a special design. How am I going to design? All this should be done using a sketch, what it is, a paper, whatever, how I'm going to sketch this. And then I go to implementation. Because if I didn't consider all the requirement and start putting the shelf, and then later I will say, okay, I did them in an incorrect way. I shouldn't do this. I should do this. I should do this. So it is unorganized way to start the shelves implementation before I make my design based on the requirement I have. Is it correct? This is what we are going to learn in the course. So in the course, we are going to learn how we can create this warehouse where we are going to warehouse all our data, whatever are the data. However, before we can know how it will be this collection, how we are going to organize, first, we have to learn how we can have the best design for this project based on a special requirement. So at the beginning, we are going to learn how we can design this database system. And then we start implementing this database. And after implementing this database, we start learn how to deal with it by inserting, selecting, updating, and deleting data from this database. So the first part will be more about design, and then we will go about how to deal with this database. And there are more details that we are going to consider today and we can discuss today. today we will talk more about what do we expect from the course, plus we'll talk somehow about the history about database system and database management system. By the way, this is management system. It is not the same like database system. We'll talk about it today. Since I think so, I will take screenshots for the names now. So, because I'm going to take attendance each session. I will talk later now about how we are going to, what the criteria that we are going to consider in our course. But since it is asynchronous, not asynchronous, OLM, not OLO, so all of you are expected to join the online meeting, and there is a participation grade. Let me talk about it now when we go to this one. Okay. Josh, do you still have any question?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a quick question. Will you be posting your lecture notes? Because I like to usually take them, download them, and then annotate them as we're doing the lectures. So I just wanted to check that.
Yeah, you mean that at the beginning of the lecture or at the end of the lecture?
At the beginning, say you're doing slides or something, would you be willing to share those before the class, and then we can download them and have a look beforehand and be more prepared for the class and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, the problem is that sometimes we have some exercises. So what I can do that I can join at the beginning of the class if you want. So tell me, we have two choices. Either I send it before the class, but I don't recommend this because maybe there are some information if you are going to double check by yourself, you can do it in a correct way. And there are some exercises we need to discuss it in our class to do this. But we can share it at the beginning if you can see that it will be okay with you. What do you think, Josh?
I'm okay with either way. I just find that it's nice to be able to just write directly on the slides, and then that way the notes are fairly organized.
Okay, I will share with you today's lecture now, and we start from there. Let me just do it as a PDF and share it with you. Okay, I will share it here. I send it in the chat, so I think so all of you, you'll be able to now to have an access. But try your best that you can concentrate with the screen, because not to go with the PDF just as a reference if you want to add a note. Because some student, when they will have the slide, they will go with the next slide without considering that they have to concentrate more about the actual slide that we are discussing now. So try to just keep it as a reference. Karanvir, I think so you have added something here. I can see it in the chat. Collection of information can be retrieved when requested. This is a perfect definition. Thank you so much, Karanvir. Let me share my screen for you today. You should be able to see my screen. I need just one thumbs up or two thumbs up saying that you can see my screen. Thank you. Okay, so let's start with the course administration. So first, there is a book that we are going to use it, which is database system, and there is another book. However, there are so much online resources. Maybe people that I'm going to teach them for the first time. So I always add here different references that you can refer to. At each lecture, at the beginning, in the first slide, you can see that there is a lot of reference that you can refer to. These references, okay, it is only for further reading, but the lecture notes, they are more than sufficient. So as I'm saying, you don't have to have these books with you, but if you need to have a further reading to read more about the course, you can have the book. So the lectures notes, they are more than sufficient. And there are a lot of online resources. So I'm not a person anymore orienting students to buy a book. But again, we need to have some references, but you don't have to have the book. In case you need to read more, you can have this book, but there is a lot of online information, and all the information needed will be included in the lecture notes. So again, I believe in interactive learning, even though we have this as an online course, not as in-person course. So, and since it is OLM, we will do our best to do it as if in person, which means have always interaction, always we discuss between each other. And this is very important to do it like this. And as I always say to my student, I'm not an instructor, I'm a coach. You can just name me using my first name. You just say me Ismail, in order to feel that we are a div team, not in a classical class. And I recommend that all of you should be more active. And sometimes, like the discussion that we just have it at the beginning, it will be extremely beneficial comparing to just I'm saying and you are listening. So I will push you always to interact. So expect this, because I believe it is the best way we can discuss the course. And don't be shy, yeah? So I have this year 15% participation, but I will tell you about this participation, what it is. Class participation means that you attend the class and then you will be active. If there is lab exercises, I will take notes for people that they have already done this lab exercise, all this. So for me, it's more about the 15% about all the activities that including the class. I expect all of you should take this 15% if you will do your best to attend the classes and be active during the class. I will not enforce anyone to attend the class. So I will not put a policy, for example, if you missed five lessons or something like this, you will be kicked out from the class. Even though the university can give the instructor this option, I will not do it. It's up to you to attend, but if you don't show on the class, so you will lose this 15%. So it's up to you. If you want to have a high grade, you should be in the class and be active. If you don't want to do this, so it's your own decision. But I will be happy to see all of you here. There are 3 individual assignments. And these assignments, they are each one 5%. I added here the delivery date when you expect deadline for them, but you should have the assignment somehow 1 week before the delivery date. So you have 1 week to do the assignment and send it. Everything will be done using the Blackboard. So having the Blackboard, you will upload all assignments. Do your best to catch the deadline. For sometimes we will have emergency case, you will be sick, family issue. So drop me email before the deadline telling me that your story and why you can do it online and on time, but don't abuse this. So maybe sometimes, okay, I can see that sometimes most of us have something urgent, we can do it, but I don't expect from a person to do it always. A group project, I should now, I think so. after the add and drop, starting the next week, the participant in the class list will be somehow fixed. So we can distribute you different groups. So you can start know each, so you can start, all of you know who is your group mate. Again, students that I told before know that for us, a group project, it's based on presentation. So does it mean that you are 2-3 persons in the project and you will have the same grade? It has nothing to do with this. Maybe you will not have the same grade as your other teammate, because it has nothing to do with being in a group that will have the same grade, all of you. So during the presentation, each one of you should show that he or she has already participated in this project and they were an added value in the group. I know that I don't expect each one of you know about everything, but don't be dependent on the other, because some student will do it. That we will have 3 members. Suppose one will do most of the work, and there is one that he will be the leader. He just manage the appointment, and the third one do nothing and expect 1 hour before the presentation can know everything and go to the presentation. This is always a story. I'm telling you this, and this is what will happen at the end. But the third person who's going to do this doesn't expect to have a high grade. I am an easygoing person. I'm very flexible with the grading. Sometimes in the assignment, when I correct the assignment, there will be some mistakes. But if I can see that this student has the whole concept already practiced them, he or she know how to do it, so I will give full grade. But transparency and honest, it is a key word for me. Be transparent, be honest. So if for any issue you are not able to do your work, just discuss it with me. But don't reach the presentation time and said, no, I did it. No, you didn't do it. So take care for this. And it is 20%. We have a midterm, it is 20%. And we have a final exam, it is 30%. Again, concerning attendance, if any one of you not able and there is an excuse, just drop me an email. And as I said, I will not enforce anyone to attend the classes, but this will affect the grade. Anyone have any question concerning the grading? It is flexible. We can just also update it or change it. So if there is any idea about this or any discussion, I'm happy to hear you. Amen. Go.
Okay, so let's say if I miss a single class, then are you going to deduct like 1% off of the 15%?
It is not like this. So for me, I will consider if I will collect attendance, I will do it. But if you are, for example, a very active person and you always prepare before we go to the lectures and you answer the questions, and if you miss some classes, so I will ignore this and I will give you full grade. You get my point?
Yeah.
I'm very flexible. The aim from this 15% is to be fair with the people that attend the classes and are active and preparing. And for the other students, they are not attending classes and they are not being active during the class.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Sure. I see there's Can you raise your hand?
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yeah.
Wanted to know about the class participation. Is there any way for us to check our progress of this grade throughout the semester to see
Which
if we're
grade?
lagging behind in class participation?
Yeah. Okay, don't worry about it. This is a good idea from you. I will give you a feedback from time to time. Yeah, I will do it.
Thank you.
Sure, this is a good idea. Thank you. This is a good idea to consider it, that to tell you about, yeah, I will do something. You give me a nice idea about make a dashboard for the participation progress. This would be perfect idea. Thank you so much. I will do it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Eamon, you have a question, because I can see still you raise your hand, or if just lower it. Okay. So now we talk about office hour. Yeah. I this year I asked them, even though I live in Chilliwack, I asked them to give me a spot in Abbotsford, because my student, they have problem later to come to Chilliwack. And also I have two options. I will be in Abbotsford from 12:30 to 2 for office hours, and I will give the option about virtual office hour using the Zoom. It will be Friday from 3 to 5:30. So if you need to have a one-to-one discussion with me out of the class time, drop me an email to get a slot for you within that Zoom meeting or the virtual office hour. I will be happy to see you there. So first, you can send me an email if you have any question. I will do my best to reply within the same day. And if you see that you need to have a one-to-one discussion, just send me an email. I want to see you in the virtual office hour, which will be on Friday from 3 to 5:30. And why I'm asking you to send me an email, because this is for not only the database system, for all the classes I'm teaching. So to be sure that you will join maybe with somebody else from your class, so we have the same discussion about something that you will benefit from this, and not to be in with other discussing something maybe it is not interested to you. And the Zoom meeting, I have already added to the Blackboard. So if you go to the Blackboard now, you can see that the virtual office hour link, so you can join from there. So I have already published the link in the Blackboard. So there's something in the Blackboard, the weekly meeting, and there's something, the virtual office meeting. So the virtual office meeting, the Zoom link, you can go there and see it on double check in the Blackboard in this case. So the learning outcome, or what do we expect from what we are going to expect after we finish this course? So what we can see that you should be able, and during this, after finishing this course, to know more about what is a database and what is a database management system, and to explain why databases were developed and when they are useful. And we will use for database design something we name it entity relational modeling. We will talk about it starting next lecture. When we talk about normalization, I think so you should hear this word before, normalization. Normalization. Anyone know about, have already heard this word, normalization? This doesn't have to do with the database, but we use the same word in database, normalization.
Yeah.
Go ahead, who's talking? Josh?
Yeah, I've heard of normalization. I'm a physics major, so we do a lot of that.
Yeah, tell us about this.
Well, typically when you're using vectors, to normalize something is to make it so that vector magnitude is equal to 1.
Okay, so it is somehow make some space transformation to let the data be more homogeneous. Is it correct? We can say it like this?
Yep.
So I forget about maybe the other, not to be somehow say, okay, what they are talking about. So I said make space transformation to make the data more coherent and homogeneous. So forget about the first part about space transformation. Let's see the other part, which is to make the data more coherent and homogeneous. Because returning back to the library example, we said that if I ask you to do a library having the shelves and the book in your space, you're going to design the implement However, after you design, implement, and put the shelves, you find okay, maybe it was not the best design to use it. Maybe I have to change this shelf and put this shelf here. It will be better that I can benefit from the space in a better way. Maybe it is better later when I will pull the box and then returning them back. It is more practical. So what happens that after we finish the designing of the database system, and we have already seen that, okay, we now we are okay with the whole process. However, we see no there and hear this word, an enhancement should be done. And this is what will be the normalization talk about. How we can do an enhancement for the structure after we have already constructed the database system. And we will learn in this course how to write SQL queries. Because after we construct our database, we need to insert, select, update, and delete data from this database. To do this, we use a new language. We name it structured query language. You will learn about it. And for sure, you should learn how to create this database before you start sending query to this database. This is the course outcomes that you should expect from this course. I add here the course schedule. I shared also this course schedule with you, and I think so in the syllabus. If you have time to check the syllabus, because I upload also to the Blackboard, and maybe I send it by email for you the syllabus. So I add for each week what we expect. This is a tentative. Maybe sometimes we'll make some update, but this gives you an overlook about what different topics per week we are going to do it. I think so. We have already a holiday at the beginning, which is the first week we didn't have a class, so I consider this. And then we will have in the week 5th another holiday, so there are no lecture will be. Today we will finish the course introduction, and then we will start the designing using ERD modeling, as I said already. Maybe this we need 2 weeks for this because we need to practice. And then we will learn more about how we can create what we have already designed. This is what I named SQL data definition. I will not go so much detail about it now because maybe you are not familiar with different topics here. I don't expect you to be familiar with. So it is, again, it's just a schedule to be sure about what different topics during the whole semester we are going to discuss. But I think so it is not, we don't have to discuss the topics now because you are not familiar, and we will discuss it week by week. As you can see that the last week it's about project presentation, and the week before, yeah, this is maybe good to discuss it now. So after we finish dealing with the database system, what is a database, how we design it, how we implement a database, and then how we can insert and select and update data, you're learning different SQL queries. Now there is a question about because this all we will do it dealing with the database management system that we'll talk about it later. However, it will be nice to learn how we can create a software that talks with a database system. I think so a student who has already finished the web programming, they have already practiced this in a sophisticated way, in advanced way, how they can create a web base that talk with the database management system, And this is the week 12. The material here is not included in the final, so it is a tutorial. This is why I name it tutorial. It is out of the scope of the course. But I think so it will be nice if we will practice how we develop a software that has a database. Again, it is an added content. It is out of the scope of the course, but it will be nice to practice this, and maybe you will use it in your project. So we have more than one choice to do this, either using Python or Java or C++, whatever it is. I put here Python because I think so that most of you, they have already finished Python, even though I taught some students using Java or whatever. But still, we can change it later based on the majority, what they want. So this week 12, it is out of the scope of the course. It is just to practice how we create a software using database system. So don't be worried. Don't be worried about maybe that Python. I don't know Python or something like this. It is just a practice. In the final, this is not included in any assessment. There is no assignment based on this. So it is just a tutorial. Later, before we start this week, we will agree if we will make a software using Python or Java or PHP, whatever it is. But I think so. Let's keep it till this. But I put it here Python because I expect that most of you are familiar with this. Before we start with these people. Any questions so far? Allen, Allen, can you hear us?
Hello. Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm saying your name correctly, Allen.
Yep, Alan.
How are you today?
I'm doing good, thanks. How about you?
You were from the beginning with us?
Yeah, I was.
I didn't hear your voice. You should tell me I'm here. Don't worry. So do you have any questions so far?
No, it's all made sense to me. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Just I want to double check with you.
Okay.
Yeah, the problem that all people that they have their name starting with the A, they will be asked always because they will be in the top of the list.
Oh no. Okay.
So you should prepare yourself that you will be one of the first person to be asked always. And people that their name was Z or something, they will be lucky. Don't worry, no, this is good for you. So when you'll be asked more, it will be a good opportunity to understand more. Do you agree on this?
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay, thank you so much, Alan. So as I do with my courses, I have 3 main characters that I always added them here. So we have Brainy, which will join our team and will ask you different questions. And the last time I didn't include it Angry, but I will include this here. I said we will have it. So Angry, you know this Angry Smurf, this person that always hate everything. So if you don't answer Brainy question, he will come and he hate you. Maybe you'll get, I don't know, it depends about when he will be angry or crazy what he's going to do. Maybe get some grace from you, I don't know. So keep it out of our class. And this semester I add a new character, which is Papa. Papa will be here with us and will give us different advices and hints, not the questions, maybe sometimes a summary about what we should consider as an advice after we finish any part of this course. So you will see them so much, these people here. So let's start. Oh, we have a question. I think so we have already discussed this, what is a database? But still I can ask somebody else that I didn't hear her or his voice. I see here sometimes the name will not appear as a whole. I don't know why. Give me just 1 second. So Karatik, K-A-R-T-I-K, Karatik. If I'm saying the name correctly, Karatik. If I'm not saying the name correctly, just please. Karatik, are you here? Karatik. Karatik, K-A-R-T-I-K. And there is another word with it, Bahanut, B-H-A-N-O-T. So if you don't have a mic, just try something in the chat. And if you don't try something in the chat, I expect that you are not here, and this is bad. Ken, K-E-N, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
How are you, Ken, today?
I'm good.
Why didn't open your camera just to know who I'm talking with?
Just it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ken, so can you tell us what is a database? We just discussed this. Just
yes.
repeat it again.
Database, I would say is I don't want to repeat the same thing that my friend
You can repeat it. Go ahead. It's up to you.
Yeah, the best way I could describe it is as a structured collection of information that can be accessed offline or online through a file system.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Yes, I agree with you. And there are more, let's say, and more advanced definition. We'll discuss it later. Thank you so much, Ken. I will ask you, all of you, please, just to be aware that all people that they are signing here, they are here. I will ask you kindly just to write something in the chat, the word present, all of you, P-R-E-Z, present. So each one of you who can hear me now, just try the word present in the chat. So today's lecture will be, first, we are going to talk about what is database world after we finish this course administration. And then we will talk about the evolution of database management system. We will talk about what is the difference between database management system and database. So, and then we will talk more about introduction. People waiting is above me. So just again, for people who are in the lobby, I send you all calendar invitation. Double check your email and accept the invitation so you can join all with the weekly meeting without asking any admitting or any admitting option from my side. And then we talk about, we will give a structure about database structure and design. What's the structure, which means that we will talk more about what is data modeling, and we will start talking about the design by the end of this lecture. So today's lecture talk more about the history, about what is a database management system, what different data modeling happened during all these years, and which one of them we are going to pick and work with it. So this is, let's say, a more accurate definition, a more systematic, and according to the standard how we can define a database. So it is our collection, as you said, and data, but we will use another word. It is logically related, because we believe this data that they should have somehow related, even though maybe this definition doesn't fit so much when we talk about big data nowadays. We'll talk about it later. But for us, even though they maybe not will be directly related, these data, but however, they should talking about some concepts. So this group of information or data talk about this concept and this about this concept and this about this concept. So these data, they are logically related. And sometimes you will have included the data, a description of the data. It is an option. We doesn't have it always. So it is a collection of logically related data and description of this data. And description of this data, again, it can be included. Yes, no, it's not always the case. These are, to me, the information need for an organization, because at the end you are collecting or building this database targeting a special organization. So, but let's talk more about what you mean by this description of the data. You know that a terminology or a technical term that we use it for the description of the data. Anyone know about this? Yeah, I see somebody has already raised his hand. Sorry. So, yeah, I think so. I can see them. This is, yeah, Simran.
Yeah,
Go
hi.
ahead.
Is it called metadata?
What you said?
metadata, META data.
This is correct. Yes, metadata. Yeah. Yeah, metadata. Yeah. Thank you so much. We'll talk more about what we mean by metadata here now. So yes, it is more metadata, as Simran said, but I will give you an example about metadata. I gave it before maybe. So now I'm talking about general about data. I'm not talking only about this course database system. But for example, if you hear some songs and the song itself, it should be a file or like MP3 file, MP4 file, whatever it is, a file, WAV file. However, sometimes with this file, which is the data, which is the audio data, you will have another data, like tell about the lyrics, about who's the singer name, the album name, the date of the release. So all this data, they are describing the song itself. So in this case, the file of the song, we can see it as a data, and we can see the other file, which is the describing the content of this data. We can see it as metadata in this case. So metadata, it is a data or a file, a data describing another data. When you talk about database system, we can see it as a part. We can sometimes we need to collect it as a part from the information here or part of the database system. I'm not sure that if somebody has already sent us any request to join. I can see this here. Please, anyone, because I see there are some people here that they didn't accept the calendar. So go ahead and do it now to accept the calendar. It would be good to do it. Not to, for the next time. If we don't have a disturbance, anyone want to enter, so anyone can enter in this case. So databases are used to maintain and manage data, and we can see it in websites, corporation business, research institutes, company. There is no place where there is a software, there is no database. There is a software, then there is a database. There is a software, then there is a database in this case. Oh, Brainy, another question. Can you provide us with real-life example of database application? So, anyone know about any system, well-known system that use a database? There is a huge amount. Yeah, go ahead, Kura.
Like Spotify, Netflix, something like that.
Yes, Netflix. What's more? Yeah, I can see there's another person. Nassim? Go ahead. I see there's Nassim, and then I don't know if I lower his or her hand. And I have also Navepon. I'm saying correctly?
Yeah, correct. And Wikipedia.
Wikipedia, perfect. Josh?
Any sort of social media sites, so like Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, they all have databases to keep track of users.
Yes. What I can see, there are more hands here, so. Varad? Varad, go ahead. V-A-R-A-D. I'm saying it's correctly, Varad.
Hello, sir.
Varad, do you need later to accept the attendance because I see you as a guest here, okay? There is a calendar invitation I sent by email, just accepted it. Go ahead, Varad.
Yes, sir. Government organizations to keep data.
Government organization, perfect. What's more? Sanyam, go ahead.
Sir, it's e-commerce, like where we organize products and the pricing.
Perfect, yes.
And the customer information.
Yes. Who's more? Yashvir.
Yeah, so I would say emails.
Perfect. There is a very simple example. You should think about it. What about the Blackboard that you are using? Can I say it is a database application? Is it a database application? Because we put all data there
Yes,
and then you
yes.
can access at any time. So yes, thank you so much, all of you. I like that there's so much of you have already participated in this question about what is database application. You hear this, we have three main words, don't mix between them. Database application, database system, or database, and database management system. I see there is somebody you want to access here. By the way, any one of you can accept or admit any person, so just in case I didn't take care for this, do it from your side, if anyone want to attend here. I see there's somebody here that's chatting. Online library like the UFV, my mic is not working. Don't worry, Nassan, it's okay. Try to fix it. Okay. Yes, online library, you are correct. But again, as I said, we have three main technical terms. It is about database management system, and database application. When I use the word database application, which means a software or application or a platform that it has a database included, which means that there's part of data is being saved. When I talk about database management system, we will see it later. And when we talk, I will not talk about it now because we will talk about it later. And then we talk about database, we are talking about the collection of the data itself. So Google Play, Amazon, Blackboard, all we can see it as a database management applications. Not management, sorry, it is a database applications. And we can see also other software like point of sale software where we use in the grocery stores, all this, which is offline database. And this is an example about database. So who will take care for the database? Who will take care for the database? Who? Any idea? Amen. I'm saying Amen or Amen. Amen, I think so is your name.
Amen.
Amen, so it's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it would be the database analysts, maybe.
Okay, maybe I have to ask it in another way, this question, because somehow it is ambiguous. So if I want to say who will take care for this database, I'm not asking about a person. I'm asking about which kind of a software who will do it. Is it the same software? For example, we have the Blackboard, and the Blackboard has a database. So within the Blackboard application, we are using it, or you are using it, or there is another software that will take care for this. You get my point? Okay, I will ask you another way. So this database, now there's a collection. And this collection of data need to be maintained to be always secure. And there is an access control for this. The software that you are using, like the Amazon or the Blackboard, you are going to take data and insert and update data, whatever it is. But there should be another software who is going to take care about the maintenance, the security, the access control, to be aware that everything okay, there is a backup for the data, all this. I can see more than one hand is. Eamon, still you want to add something? Because you are first. Oh, please lower your hand. So I have here Sarsak. I see Sarsak is the second.
Yeah, database management system.
Perfect. Yeah. What about Callum? Callum, do you want to add something here?
Yeah, it could be something like AWS, like Amazon Web Services, or like
This is one.
something like that.
AWS is one of the database management system. So as your colleague has already, Harjot, do you want to add something?
How about the SQL?
Yeah, this is also MySQL or SQL Server. They're all a database management system. So who is going to do this is database management system. So when we have a database, we should have another database management system that will host the database. And when you build an application, this application will talk with this database management system that it hosted this database. So before you build your own software, before you start designing your database, you should have already selected one of the database management systems that they are now in the market. It depends, you are going to do it online, offline. If it is online, which one of the database management system you are going to deal with. And later you are going to build your database based on this database management system because it will host your database. Host means that it will contain this database. And later you build a software that talk with this database management system to access the database in this case. So as most of you have already added in this, and thank you so much, it is database management system. Yes. So database management system in this case, let's talk about it, about the evolution, how it started and till we reach this point. I think so. Do you want to take now break or finish this and take the break? What do you? If you need a break, I need 5 thumbs up. No break, or I can continue and later we take a break. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No break. We'll continue. So the evolution of the database management system. It starts. So if we don't have a system, suppose what we are now in the 50s, 1950. There was no computerized database management system or file system. So if you want to track all your data, you have to have everything being written in paper-based and then put them in drawers. You have a huge amount of files, and you put tags for each one of them. So this is people at that time. Okay, they still can preserve data, but again, if they want to search for any data, it will be horrible. So it will not be an easy work to find any data there because you have to search all the files. There is no search engine within this system to search for anything. And if you want to summarize the data or do whatever this, you have to go by item one by one. And there is a high risk because if there is a fire happening in this place, whatever it is, you lose all your files or you lose all your data. So in the 1960s, they started thinking about, okay, since we started now the computers, we can use something they name computerized file system, which means that each department will create different files. Like, for example, now you create a file for the WinWord, or using WinWord file, you can create different files and put them in a folder. So they start creating a system using files as an entity. Each department, it has its own files where they save their own data using computers at that time. The problem with this system, there's more than one problem in this system because, as again, it is a collection of files. And these files, they are not related to each other. They are standing alone files. And each department, even though they will be in the same company, like the personnel and the sales department, they are in the same company. However, each department has its own file because there was no centralized database system. So each department created different files based on different data they needed. The problem of this we have many problems. This is one of them. that sometimes you have an employee, it write the name of the customer using his or her first name and last name. And then maybe other customer, other one added, for example, middle name. And the third one add, for example, the maiden name, whatever it is. So you will have inconsistency in this data because the data is not saved in one place. This data is being duplicated in different files. And there is no restriction about how the data is being to be inserted later using a special query system. There was no query system. It won't do it. So we have inconsistency, we have data duplication taking place at that time. So if we are going to discuss this about the file-based system, the first weakness, we can see it, we have islands of a data. Each department, it has its own files, its own files, its own files. So it is island of a data, we can see it like this. And there is another problem, we have a duplication. Same data being stored in multiple files. I have a curious question. You can see my camera because I'm opening from two different places. Okay, good. So same data is in multiple files. So there are duplication. I'm using space because I'm saving the same data in different places. Inconsistency, as we have already said, because sometimes the same data, you save it in using different format in different places. There is rigidity. The word rigidity here used like, if you are going later to search for anything in this data, you can't do it because people have to create this file system, create you an interface to create a file and save it in this location. Suppose you are working in a company and you have a tough boss, and your boss today came to you and said, hey, I want to have your today's sales report, what you have already sold today, to which customers, and the total amount. Having this file system, you can pick up this report. But if you have a database management system where you can have an upper layer and write your own query, you can then create a report on the spot. This system is very rigid, it needs customized programming, it's not flexible to create any reporting or query at that time. The implication, so it is waste of space, data inaccuracy is taking place, high overhead of data manipulation and maintenance. So what about database management systems and file system? So the database management system, it is talk more about, we have a database where we collect the whole data for this organization in the same place, not having different files for each department. And then we will have one system that will take care for this database, and we can send this query for this system using any interface like the database application. So if I want to define the database management system, it is a software system that enables you to define, create, maintain, control access to database. Again, normally in this course, we are going directly to deal with database management system to write a query directly in it. But in the market, in the industry, we create a software with a special interface that talk with this database management system, like a website, or a Java interface, or a Python interface, or whatever it is the interface. In this course, as a beginning, we will talk directly with this system. And as I said, as a beginning of the lecture, later, we will write or we will have a small tutorial how we create a software database using this database management system. So how it will be, we will have a database application that talk with this database management system that take care for the database. So three main technical words: database, database management system, and database application. Don't mix between them. The database is a collection itself. And the database management system, it is one of the popular systems that will use it to create this database and it will host the database, and it will maintain and take care, which means to be always secure, control the access control, doing all this, backup all this stuff. So the concept of the query, because in this system, in this ecosystem, we are building this database system to later we can send any query. Anyone can tell me about what is a query in general, even though a query, maybe it is something from linguistic, from English, a query. What is a query? Harjut, go ahead.
Process of requesting data from database.
Okay, but yeah, this is correct. So I can hear some, yeah, let me hear somebody, then I will add what I want to add. So, Sarsak?
A piece of code to extract data.
Extracting data, perfect, piece of code. I can see also here, there's Simran Pete, go ahead.
Yeah, in general terms, it would be like an instruction we can give to perform a task.
Perfect, yes. Anyone want to add something here?
Yeah, we can use
Harmandeep, go ahead. Harmandeep, go ahead. No, Harmandeep first, because please, who want to say something, just raise his or her hand. Harmandeep?
Request for accessing the data.
Request for accessing data, perfect. Josh?
I was just going to say it's a request. If we're talking about just basic, like what a query is, it's just a request.
A request, yes. Perfect. There's, I think so, Elijah.
Could you say a query is just like a search? Searching the database to search?
Yeah, it is a very special query, because sometimes a query is not only search. Sometimes a query is to add something to the database, add a new table. Sometimes a query is to delete something. It's not only search. Search can be a special query in this case. Asira, do you want to add something?
Like just what you said, we can use query to like access data, we can add data, we can update data, we can like remove data. We can do different actions in the database.
Oh, thank you so much, Asira. You give us a lot of information for us. Maybe you can give the course instead of me. You can give some lectures here. Okay, yeah, thank you so much, Asira. Yes, so as all of you said, this is a process where we are going to search in database or insert or select or update or all this. And I will also, since we talk about in general about what is a query, I can say in a very simple example, just a question. I want to ask the database management system about to do something for me. This is just a question. Sometimes when you talk with the instructor, you say, please, I have a query, so I have a request to do something. So it is a request. Be aware that in database management system, there are two kinds of requests. Let's say two family of requests. Either we are going to manipulate the data to delete or to update or to select or to insert a new one, which make manipulation for the existing data, or we need to change or to build a new structure for the database. So either we are going to work with the data itself, or we are going to update or create a new structure. And there are two different family of queries. We will see the name for them. So a query, as we said, just we need a request. And when we will be in any database application, I can send any query, for example, here session for something, selecting all theaters, all genre, all rating. Your database application will take your request and will send it to your database management system as it is. So now, based on this, Brainy is asking, what do you expect from database management system? Asira, you are raising your hand. Maybe you have to lower it, or you can participate in this question. What do you expect? So let me ask the question in another way. So this database management system that so far you know about it, what is the different characteristics or behaviors or actions That's the database management system we expect to do. Kura, no, keep it. Come. Kura, we want to see your daughter. Okay, so what do you expect from that? Yeah. Say hello to her. She's taking with us a database management system. So, Ayman, go ahead.
I think a database management system can create and also manage the database and also help run the queries.
Okay, so let me formulate what you said. So it will be create a database and answer the queries. This is what you want to say? Or the requests, the queries?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so
and
much.
also manage the database as well.
Manage. What do you mean by manage database? Can you define it or be more specifically? What do you mean by manage? Because manage is very generic word. So can you tell me exactly what you mean by manage? Is it creating a database and asking queries or something else?
I mean, in a sense that it can also help the users create or also make the data files. So allowing
So
users.
again, so it is what I can collect from you. So it is a create and answer or fulfill the queries or the request.
Yeah.
Is it correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ayman. Let me see who's more is. I'm opening from two different computers just to see the. So if somebody else want to add, I see Josh, you have already raised your hand, and then. So providing security, I see here there are some other people here. A request, a question. Can Warjit said provide security. Ikam Jud said add and drop shared data. So security, this is a very important one. Read, process first, and fulfill them. So I have here somebody talk about security. Never poon.
Oh yeah. So I back for a bit. I mean talk about manage. I mean create, update, and delete.
Okay. Yeah. So this is create, update, delete, which is let's name it manipulate the data. Take care for the manipulation of the data. And somebody asked about creating a database. And then somebody added also security. Take care for the security of the data. You want to add more?
No.
Thank you. I will go to Harjut, I think so. Harjut have something to add here.
To remove inconsistency in data.
To remove inconsistency. Which means that preserve consistency of the data. This is have to do more about the database developer. Yeah, we'll talk, but thank you. This is an important point. We'll talk about it. More to add. Or I have here somebody in the chat saying, organize database file, provide access over data. So access control. Perfect. So Harjudo, still you are raising your hand. So I will ask also somebody didn't share with us. So let me choose somebody here. Sanyam, is it here, Sanyam? Sanyam. Sanyam, can you hear me? Delete and rearrange data. This is somebody else added. Sanyam. Okay, guys, we said to be transparent in this. You are here, then you should be able to answer my question, even though you don't have a mic in chat. On this case, I will not able to mention you as attended person. Creating, deleting, and sorting data. Perfect. I will choose somebody else. Ivan, do you want to add something, or what do you think that?
Database management system. It should not let a user query data that they do not have access to.
For access control.
Yeah, I guess access control again.
Yeah, no, thank you. Okay, so let's see this. Thank you for all of you. I'm lucky and happy that I have you here because I have a lot of smart people here. And we will do nice work here. So a database management system is allow user to create a database with a logical structure of this data schema using something we name it, use this word because it is very important you know about it. DDL, data definition language. Because I said there are two different queries. The queries that talk about the structure of the database and the query that talk about manipulating of the data. The query of the structuring of the database they are under the umbrella of DDL, data definition language. And that DDL or the data definition language we are talking about, it's talk more about how we can create the structure or tables, whatever it is, like this. This is a query, DDL query, talk about creating a table. It doesn't talk about database. So any database management system should have a data definition language, DDL. In our case, we are going to learn SQL DDL, and we are going to deal with a database management system that accept SQL DDL. Another point that it should also, this database management system, give us the ability to insert, to update, to delete data, which is manipulate the data. Then it should have a language. We name it DML, data manipulate language. Because again, when you are going to deal with a machine, we need a programming language. You have a Java, Python, whatever it is. Since we are talking with a database management system, this database management system should have two languages that we can deal with this, the DDL and the DML. And each database management system, it has its own language, but most of them they use SQL, which is DML and DDL. What's more we expect from this system is support the storage of a huge amount of data using efficient access method. Efficient access method. So because it will be useless if this method, or sorry, if this system will not retrieve the data in a very quick way. Suppose you are now in any gross market like Superstore or Walmart, and then the cashier is passing the product to get the price from the system, and it has to wait, she or he has to wait for almost 2-3 minutes to get the price. It will be disaster. It cannot be. It can be useless. So you can see the system there. Ping, ping, ping. It is sending a query to the system and return back with a price. So it is a very efficient one, very fast one in accessing the data. And here, durability. So suppose Ivan, I will give an example, Ivan, so please don't worry about it. I'll give you as an example and talk about your life after 10 years or 15 years, I don't know. So suppose that Ivan, he has already a partner or he has already his own home, he's married. And then he is a database administrator and he woke up like today, get his coffee, he's still sleepy. But then he has problem with his partner and he wants out from the home and he is angry, almost angry. And he went to the office and he want to drink again his coffee or drink something that can let him calm down. And then because he was not so much concentrating, he, with the coffee, fall down in the machine and something happened bad. And since he is database administrator, we lost all data in the company. What will happen now? So he was fired from the home. He will be fired also from the office. Is it correct? So the systems that we are dealing with, it should have a way where there is a backup. So whenever we have any problem, so we can it should have durable system, enable durability, which means that a recovery can be done. Whenever we have a problem, we can go to the latest stable version that we have this. Sorry, Ivan, I took you as an example. I hope that you are okay with this. So, and again, as most of you have already said, control access, isolation, which means that we shouldn't give access for all the people at the same level. And we should have something access control. So this is the main properties of any system that we are going to deal with it. Efficient, durable, access control, isolation. It has its own DDL and DML. I will give you 10-minute break, just refresh, take a break before we go to the last part for the day lecture, okay? I will turn off my camera and everything, and then we'll be back after 10 minutes. See you after 10 minutes. Hey. Back. So we should be all here back again. So I can ask you, please, to write the word back, B-A-C-K, in the chat, just to be aware that most of you are back. Yeah. I can see most of you are here. Back. Good. I think so we can return. So after we have already discussed what is a database management systems and the evolution that happened, how we start with this using a file system, then we need to have a database system. Now we talk about data structure and data modeling. Because I think so I have already heard somebody when we talk about database management system said about constancy. That should be constant, the data, or the database management system should help or take care about data to be consistent. However, this is not the role of the database management system. This is the role of the structure or the design that you have already build your database based on this, which is a data model. The word is data modeling or data model is talk more about for which is a standard that we are going to use it, because there are different standards when we talk more about how you are going to save your data, in which structure. Returning back to the example of the library and the shelves. The way you are going to organize the shelves, how you are going to install them, it is very important later because this will affect how you are going to select the data or how you select the box, or how easy later is the access for selecting or picking up a box from the shelves. If you don't put it in a correct way, then you will have problem later about picking up the box or inserting new box in the shelves or having new box being at the shelves. So the data model that we are talking about it today, we talk about history also. How was different data model starting the world of database system? What is the data models that they have already used it, and what we are going to use, and what is now taking place in the market? Again, the data model is the standard that we are going to use it to save the data in the database management system. Because for us, the way or the design that you will choose it depend in the database designer. It doesn't depend on the database management system. Even though if you have a special design, you intend to do it, you should pick up a database management system that somehow is compatible with it. So let's talk about what is data model. Data modeling and databases evolve together. So they start with together lately 1960s. Because when we need a database system, we need first to agree, as I said, which is the standard about the data encapsulation, a data model, how it can be in this case. So if I want to describe what is a data model, so it is a collection of concepts that describing the data and the relationship between data. Okay, we said a database is collection of a data. But these data, how is going to be organized in the database? This what is the data model will tell us about it. So returning back to the library example, the space that we will have it is part from our database management system. The way we install the shelves is the data model that we are going to take it. And later, the whole data in the shelf, which is the book, is our database. So the data or the collection of the data is the database. The database management system is a place where we save the database. And later, where we are going to build, where we are going to talk with this system to insert, select, update, and take care for the database. And the database application is the interface that talks with the database management system. However, the data model is the standard that we are going to use it to design our database and construct. So it is just a standard. It is not a software. It is a standard. The way we are going to organize the shelves. So if there are different standards, so each standard will describe the data relationships between the data. These data, when you are going to save them or to warehouse them, how you are going to modelize a relationship between these data. And this word is very important here. Constraints. Constraints on the data in an organization. Constraints. So let's take this example. All of you have student ID in the UFV. And each one of you have his or her ID, which is unique. No duplication is allowed. So later, when we are going to define the structure of the data, our database using the data model, we will say we have a constraint that this parameter is unique and no duplication is allowed. So this is a constraint. Another constraint is when we are going to collect data about date of birth. So month, year, day. So the month should be a number between 1 and 12. You don't have a month 13. So this is a constraint. So the constraint is different restriction that we should consider when we build our database. And we have to define this as a part from our design process. So when we pick a data model, which is the structure that we are going to follow, we should define the relationships and the constraint of this data. So the data model will contain the structural part of your database, how it should be later, the main structure, the shelves, how you are going to organize them, and that should include different operations, which is the DML and DDL, and the constraints. So all of this can see it as my data model. So I said, for example, I will use a relational data model using SQL. So in this case, I have to use SQL operation, a relational model, and I will define different constraints in this case. So let's talk about history now. The first one was when we talk about database system by end of 1960, at the beginning of 1970s, they said, okay, we will put all data in a structural hierarchical way, which means that each record of a data, this is a record of data. A record. Each record, we have a parent, for example, we have an invoice, and then we will have this record, and then we have this sale, and we have this record. For them at that time, the hierarchical model that we have one parent at a record, and then different records, they are related to each other, record. A record is a line of information. This data model that was used in 1970s, it is 1M, which means that we have always you have one parent and then we have child, one parent while we have one child. We don't have so much parents. The strength of this is we modelize the relationships. All relation now, they are all data, we have the concept of relationship. And by the way, the relationship as a concept, it is a realistic one, especially in business application. For example, Asira has already today, Asira work in a company where she make invoicing, billing. So this invoice, which is a record, was done by Asira that work in this department. I have 3 main different records, but they are related to each other. And business application, most of the data, they are related to each other. This is why having a data model that talk about relationship between different data entry, it is somehow conceptually, it is correct and realistic. The weakness of this model, it is limited of a relationship, because for always, we should start from one parent and then child, and then the child will be a parent. So all data, they are related to each other from a one parent. And this is not always the case. Because the big question in this case, which is the first parent entity or record we have to start with? So this is a weakness. And another point about this data model, that we don't have a flexibility with writing a query later, and it is very related to the physical part. And when we talk about the programming of different query or issues in this, so the lately we have, after this, something they name it network data model, which is each record related with a parent, but doesn't mean the parent should be related to each other. So we have many-to-many relationships in this case, and this somehow more realistic. But when we talk about network, when we talk about file system, when we talk about hierarchical model, all of them, we name them legacy database systems, the old one. They are so dependent on the physical structure of your hardware where you are going to warehouse your data. You don't have a high-level programming layer or a ad hoc where you can write your own query. It is like programming languages. If you remember, in old time, we don't have higher level programming language. We have the assembly one. When we have to go to a low-level coding, not a higher level like today using Java, C++, Python, all these languages, because they are easier. I can write any program using the spoken language that I know it. So the same issue like here in this all systems data models, we don't have the option to create a simple query, and there was no higher upper layer to write these queries. So I think so it is end of 1970s, at the beginning of 1980s, something I name it the relational database model empire. Why I name it empire? Because now we start a new generation of database system and database model. They name it relational model. The word relational, not because there is a relationship, even though in the network model, hierarchical model, there was a relationship. And also each entity is a relation. Why it is a relation? Because it is a table. So for us, we will have different tables, and each table have set of attributes. We name it entity, talking about the same concept. Like here, we are talking about movies. So here I'm talking about the title, the year, and the length, and the genre of the movies, and there are different instances of the database. So this is, we name it relation, because it is a relation between different attributes talking about the same concept, which is movie. So in my database, I will have different concepts. Each concept has its set of attributes and different instances. And there is different relationships between these relations.
which is realistic. So for business application, it is the best model, even though nowadays to use it. Because let's take an example, the university management system, the Blackboard, for example. So if I want to build a university management system, okay, I want to build a system. So there is a student, instructor, courses, financial record, human resources. So I have 3, 4, 5 concepts, and each concept, it has its own attribute. Student, first name, last name, date of birth, address. Instructor, first name, last name, date of birth, and the degree. Courses, date of the course description, course outcomes. Financial record, number of fees and the balance and the due, whatever it is. Human resources, talk about payment and payroll, all this. So, however, there is also a relationship between these entities. This course is taught by this instructor where we have these students enrolled in this course. So if you are going to build this system where we have different concepts in our database and each concept has its own attribute and there is a relationship, in this case, the relational model will be the best to use it. And this is what is the relational model. So the relational model, we will have sets of tables. Each table, we name it a relation because it's a relation between attributes. We will talk later, starting next week, about this. And this relational model, it is the first one that gives me ad hoc queries. It is give an option to write a structured query language, which is the relational model. So I can write any query without any dependency on the hardware. Whatever it is the hardware, I can write a higher level programming language, SQL query, to send any query to the system. Which is, we don't have this in the old models that we talk about, like the hierarchical or the file model or the network model. Lately, there is an extension for this. They name it object relational model, and this is what we are going to use in this course. The object relational model, because we believe, I think so most of you know the concept object-oriented. We believe that there are some entities doesn't have only relationship, and they have only also inheritance. Like, for example, I'm talking about movie. This has a title, year, length, genre. And there are some movies, some category of movie that they need more attribute, like science fiction movie. What is the equipment that weapons we are going to use it? So in this, I will have a table movie, and then I have a table, another one, science fiction movie. And then maybe I have another type of movie, and both of them, they will inherit the movie table. So in this case, we have inheritance, not a relationship. In the same structure, we will have a relationship and an inheritance in this case. This is why they name it object relational model. And this is more for business application and still nowadays being used in all business application. Now there is another model that, even though it's out of the scope of this course, but it's good to know about it. I'm going to give in the next semester an advanced course. It is 400 course. In the 4th year, you can take it. It's talk more about big data. So starting 2007, I think so, the Facebook was in 2007. And we have the new generation of social media. At that time, from 1980 till 2007, all people talk at that time about database and database management system, more SQL. We have the Oracle, we have the Microsoft SQL Server, we have MySQL that we are going to use in this course. We have a lot of SQL structured relational model with different versions of relational model. When we start with the social media at the beginning, the Facebook, they use a MySQL, which is a relational model. And later, there was bombing in the social media. If you read about them, I'm thinking so you were not big enough to know about to remember what's taking place at that time. So in 2007, people, when they started social media, we have a new challenge. Huge amount of people sending data to the system at the same time, and these data, they are not related to each other, like posting. So all people that make posts, we are not talking about a system where we have an invoice and we have a student register a course and course from instructor in this structured way, like the system in the university, or a business system like accounting system, invoicing system. We have now huge amount of data coming to the system at the same time, like the Facebook, and they are not related to each other. So if we consider the relational model in this case, we have always to think about, whenever we have a new data, what is the relation to the existing data? And this will be time consuming, considering that you have a huge amount of data. So later, in the Facebook, I think so, starting 2008, said, okay, we will not use a relational model. We use something, they name it NoSQL model, which is, in this case, it is unstructured distributed model. Because they are not interested in the relationship. They have nothing to the relationship between this data. They're interested to just to save data, and then they will make what they name it data processing. For example, they start making data processing, and at that time we lost our privacy, and these people start watching us, what we are writing and we are doing. And now they are watching everything. They hear what we are saying, even though. So, and then they start this because they need big unstructured distributed data. They start something they name NoSQL model. We will not talk about in this course because it is not talk more about big data, not about classical database management system for business application, which is a scope of the course. In the big data, I said there is another course, we name it 400 level. There we will talk about big data. And lately in 2020, they create something, they name it NewSQL. It is just let you know about this, what's happening about different data model, how it is in this. So again, we need to choose one of the database management system based on data models that we are going to use it, either SQL, NoSQL, SQL, NoSQL, NewSQL, or we are going to use a relational object relation SQL model, which is the model that we are going to use it. After we use this model, we search to which database management system that it is compatible with this data model. Because we are going to build a database using this database management system, hear this word, according to the standard of this data model, which is like this object relational data model. Any questions so far? Sure, I can ask if there is no question. Okay, Brainy will ask, and then you have to answer him. So it said, even though I have already said this word. Any idea about which data model we use in this course? I just say it. Who will say it? Go ahead. Go ahead, Asira, go ahead.
Object relational model.
Object relational model. Simranpreet, do you want to add something?
No.
This is Ali Benjamin.
Okay, thank you all of this. So the last part that we are going to talk about is schema and instances. So based on a data model, we will build our database having different steps. At the end, we should have a schema. Like, for example, you want to build a home, you consider all requirements, all models, and then you sketch your schema. So the schema, it is the output of your database design, the final output. And if you are going to go to object relational models, then in this case, you will have something we name it relational schema model. This schema can describe the database, the tables that you have, and also the attributes. And the instance is the value or the exact data that you have it now in the database. For example, in this database schema, it should have different tables. I said, okay, this is my schema. It has one table. It can have more table. So I will give the name for this. I have the name of the attribute and the type of the attribute. And if I have more than one table, I will put all this table here. And I have a database instances, which is instance 1, instance 2, which is the data in this schema, if I have. So just I want to be sure that this technical word you are familiar with, database schema, database instance. A schema, it is a final structure after you finish all your design. So which is the list of the tables, you have it, and the name of the attributes, and the type of the attribute in this case. With some constraint, like what is a primary key, whatever, we'll talk about it later. So now if we want to start our database design. So first we will collect ideas, and like Papa is saying now today, next lecture will start from here. What is the higher level design that process that we should do to have our final relation database schema? And then we will take it to go to a relation database management system and implement it. So we are going to start with how we'll design it to have the final relation database schema, and then I will go to implement it. So design is a serious business, by the way, because if you didn't do a good design, you will have a huge amount of troubles later. So you will have inconsistency with the data. Maybe you have duplication of the data. You are wasting your space. And maybe you are missing some data because you are not putting it under the good category or the good attribute or type of the attribute that it should be. So you should do your best in designing it. And we are going to enhance the design, as we said later, at the beginning, sorry, when we talk about normalization. So we will make a higher level design process that we start in next lecture to get the relation database schema. And then we will go to a relation database management system, implement the structure. And then we will see if there is a normalization should be done to see to enhance. Maybe that then we're going to return back to the design and make a new design and then relation database schema and go to the database management system. So in the last in the first 2 weeks, we will focus more on this, and then we will go in the 4th week to implement this here, returning back to here. To the course, here it is. So today we finish this. Give an introduction. Next time we will start something we name it ER design. Till we get the relational models that we needed, relation schema, and then we will go to implement it using DDL and using our database management system, which will be on MySQL. This will be our plan for the next 3 weeks in this case. And even though it will be online course, we are going to practice some lab exercises. But for the first 2 weeks, we just want to learn Sketch because we have to finish design, do the schema, and then we implement it using DDL. So before we reach this point, we are going to design sketching, drawing, what is the best design. We can do it using any software. And there is a lot of softwares already free, one more exists. But no need to have a specific one. However, we need to have a specific database management system, which is MySQL. Why MySQL? It is open source. You will not pay for this. and it is a relational database management system, and it can be used online. And if you are going later to take the web programming course, if you're not taking it, then I'm also offering this course next semester, so we will use the same system. So it's good to start with this MySQL. Try to install it. It is free. If you have a Windows, you can use this. If you have a Mac, you can use this. So it is a free one. No need to pay anything for this. Just download it, and it's an easy one. If you need any support in this, tell me. So this is all for today. I will be happy to have your feedback. We will not leave without the feedback. I need this minimum 3 feedback to leave. I will stay, maybe I stay 1 hour, 2 hours more. So I need to hear you about feedback about so far what you have already heard today. So who will start? Who will volunteer? Yeah, I have Josh here. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, so we're just, I mean, some of the stuff I'm learning is mostly just the differentiation between database management systems, the database itself, and then just
And the database application.
Differentiation and database models and data models and that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. So another question for you, Josh. So it's clear what will be the next step for you. Can you now imagine what we expect in the next week in this case?
Yeah, I would say just learning more about databases, learning how to actually use SQL to create and edit.
Yeah, and
all that kind of stuff.
the most important point about designing, which is really focus in the coming weeks, how we design before we implement. Thank you so much, Josh. Eamon.
I like the class for today. I also, I remember I took you around 2 semesters ago, so I know that it was gonna be fun. And I remember Computer 155 was also a good class. And for this class, it was very interesting. I got to learn about this database and then the all the differences. And yeah.
Thank you so much, Eamon, for this. I'm happy to see you here again.
Yeah.
And I will do my best to have this environment very interactive, because to success at the end of this course, you are a very important parameter. It depends also on you and me, how we can have this friendly and beneficial environment. Thank you so much, Eamon. Who more? Thank you. Who more? I need one more person to give a feedback before we finish today. We need a volunteer. Go up. Just add anything you want to say for today. One more volunteer. If no one, I can pick anyone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Let me go up, down, up and down, up and down, up and down. I will go to Gagandeep. Is it correct saying the name? Gagandeep. Are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
So can you share with us a feedback about today's lecture? Whatever it is.
Yeah, it was fun learning about the databases a little bit. And yeah, I've heard from many that you're a nice professor, and yeah, it was fun learning from you.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to learn a lot in the coming classes.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I want to thank you all for today. I will share the video later with you, and you have already the lecture. However, also I will upload the lecture in the Blackboard, and I will share the video link also in the Blackboard, so you can return back to this whenever you want. Enjoy the rest of the day. Take care all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I have. Thank you. Ken, do you have a question? Ken, you can ask.
Sir, yes. Just want to know one thing. You mentioned we're going to use MySQL as a program, as a base program for oral queries going forward.
Yeah, as a database management system.
MySQL
Yeah.
and my system.
MySQL.
SQL, yeah.
So this is where you are going. You can download it. You'll download the exam. It will be part from the exam.
Okay. I wanted to know if it's possible to use another SQL program.
It's up to you. I prefer to use MySQL, but if you want to use another one, it's up to you. I'm okay with this.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. See you. Bye-bye.